It's typical to hear screaming and crying during an ayahuasca ceremony here at Rythmia Life Advancement Center in Costa Rica. It might sound a bit scary, but there's actually a beautiful purge taking place.
A purge is a release of energy. So a purge can happen in multiple ways. The first one that a lot of people know is throwing up, is the vomit. And they say that the vomit is an emotional purge. And another type of purge would be going to the bathroom. And that's more of an environmental purge. And it's not just what you've eaten the day before. The purge can be old brain cells or old patterns of living that are no longer serving us. So it's the low vibrating energies like shame, guilt, anger, sadness, things that we want to get rid of. So the plant medicine, when we drink her, will vibrate such at a high frequency that anything that's low vibration either has to come and meet the high frequency or is purged out. Other types of purges would be yawning or breathing, or shaking, sweating, laughing, crying.
Okay, so I'm all packed up. My bags are over there. And I'm about to go to Costa Rica, back to Rythmia. And it's funny because I always said that, like in the past year, I've said, I don't think I ever need to do ayahuasca or plant medicine again. I don't feel called for it. But of course, then Mother Ayahuasca came calling. And there's this thing that people who have done plant medicine talk about, and it's like the call, when you just know that it's time to go. And I have been definitely getting that call. And so I'm headed back to see what Mother Ayahuasca has to teach me this time. This isn't my first time at Rythmia. You might have seen the video of me crying after I reconnected with my inner child. Sorry, I'm a little emotional. Like, really crying? The first people I met when I arrived were Jennifer and Olivia, a mother and daughter from Dallas, Texas, who turned to plant medicine after experiencing deep tragedy.
We were riddled in fear from my husband committed suicide, and 4 months later my son shot himself. So we came here with tons of pain and guilt. Yeah.
And then leaving with what?
Nothing. It's all gone.
Is there anything you two would want to say to each other right now?
I love you for who you are.
I love you for being kind and for who you are. I'm so glad you're my daughter.
I'm glad you're my mom.
We're gonna come back.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll be back.
I think for what it costs, the value is almost so much more than that. It's invaluable. You can't put a money sign on what we got here.
It's like in a week you do what people do in 10 years of therapy. It's like a bullet train to the end, to the finish line. Yeah.
Stories like this are common here, and I was ready to dive deep into the medicine, but Mother Ayahuasca had a different plan. So I just got the news that I will not be allowed to participate in ceremony at all while I'm here at Rythmia this whole week. I mean, I can participate in the ceremony, but I can't drink the plant medicine. And it's because I took medication last week that is, it contradicts the medicine and they don't mix well. And you have to wait 30 days for it to be out of your system before you can drink. Obviously, I'm beyond sad about it because I was so looking forward to having ceremony with Jordan and Jennifer and Ben, who I taught with while I was here. And it's just such a bummer because I had all of these, I guess, expectations of what I was going to get this week. But you know what? That's the beauty of coming to a place like Rythmia. they are very serious about their medical license, and they don't take that lightly. And the doctor evaluates everybody before you are cleared for ceremony. And in this case, the doctor determined that it was not okay for me to participate. And it was a very valuable moment for me, a learning experience, because I was so sad when I first heard the news. And then all of a sudden I just laughed a little bit, and I'm like, God, you are so funny. Like, God is actually really funny and just like loves to play with you. And so is Mother Ayahuasca. And like, I'm like, Mother Ayahuasca, you knew I was coming. Like, why did you let me take that medicine? You know what I mean? Like, I just have to trust the process of life and trust the process of the medicine and understand that it has my highest good in mind. And I'm still going to go to ceremony and just take super high doses of rape, which is a sacred tobacco, sacred snuff, if you will. And there are very powerful effects that it can have. So I'll go and I'll do that, and I'll be with my brothers and sisters and support them and be a little angel for them if they need me. And yeah, I don't know what to say. Since I couldn't drink the medicine myself, I dove into the experiences of others, like 19-year-old Preston, whose dad has been here before.
Basically, from when he left to when he came back, he did a complete 180, and it was just like he came back and it was more than a miracle happened for him. And it wasn't even the same person, yet it was. He still brought me the same laughter and joy, but none of the negative things about him were the same. So he left and he dipped since he was 14 years old and had been a slight alcoholic for sure, and he'll say that to you. And he had a lot of bad anxiety and depressions growing up and still through his life. And he tried a bunch of different methods to get rid of it, but nothing really worked. So he kind of just was like, all right, this is the way life is going to be forever. And just was dealing with it, but was not happy by any means. And so they found out about Rythmia from a CU football player, and they were like, okay, well, my dad was kind of like, well, if a football player's doing it, then I mean, obviously, like, I can do it too. And so he went and they did their research and decided that this was the right move, and that this actually was kind of just like a last chance Hail Mary. He went a week after St. Patrick's Day, because in his journal he wrote, the last day I ever drank was on St. Patrick's Day. And he cold turkey quit drinking and dipping, and he would dip like 2 cans a day up to since he was 14. And he tried quitting before, but he never lasted more than like a month. He would just get irritated and give up. And I'm feeling super lost right now in life, and just no purpose, and kind of just like I'm a spectator in my own life, and that I really have no real like purpose or meaning here. And so I'm just really searching for some meaning in life and looking for something to grab onto and pursue.
We'll follow up with him at the end of this video, but in the meantime, please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And now let me introduce you to my friend Christian, a shaman here at Rythmia, and his girlfriend Lindsay, who also helps in ceremonies.
I came here as a guest about 7 months ago, and during my 3rd ceremony, Spirit told me that this was my path, and in order for me to take my next breath, that was my agreement. And I tried to fight her, but as we know, she always wins. And so I surrendered to it and went home for a couple of weeks. And when I came back, I knew I was in the exact right path. And going through really horrible heartbreak led me to that path. And now that I'm here, realizing all of that was divinely perfect to lead me not only to my life path, but also my life partner. And I was really rewarded. They always say that the universe rewards bravery, and I completely gave up everything that I thought that was right for me and thought that I knew, in order to just be divinely rewarded.
And the medicine is, my first love. But then the medicine gave me Lindsay, and it gave me a mirror for myself to evolve at an exponential rate. So I'm blessed to have her in my life, and thank you to the medicine for divinely giving me something that I can grow greatly from.
As for Preston, he says he got his miracle and he can finally feel his emotions again.
The first night was the most beautiful thing I've ever experienced. I did not know I had feelings like that inside of me and emotions like that. And I definitely understood what people said when it's the hardest thing I'll ever do, because whenever I purged and threw up and got all of this self-doubt out of me, it was just painful, and I thought it was going to last forever, and I just really thought that I was going to die. I thought that was just like, seconds felt like years. It was incredible. And then it ended, and I kind of awoke, and I opened my eyes, and I was like, wow, everything is so beautiful, and I literally just love everything. Wow. I just saw the joy in the world and just everyone together, and I saw all these spiders everywhere, and I talked to them later, and they were saying how that it just means like the unity of the world and the spider web of the world, and how everyone's really connected. It's really just about seeing where you were and where you are now in life, and when you realize where you are now in life, it kind of, you merge back with your soul kind of at the exact same time, because you realize who you've become and who you are, and then once you learn who you were, you connect back with that person automatically, and it's just like it's the most beautiful thing. And then in that process, your heart's continuously being healed.
But working with the medicine isn't always pretty. Jen Sidoni and I taught a workshop together, and while she's certainly not new to ayahuasca, she says that her experience this time was quite intense and even dark.
I've done over 40 journeys. They have been all sorts of experiences, everything from the visionary Alex Gray painting fractal geometry, ancestral healing, to psychic surgery, meeting with my angels. Never in my life have I had an experience where I was confronted with a demon until this week. So my favorite Hermetic axiom is, out of chaos comes order. And what I learned in this experience is that in coming into a relationship with chaos and looking at darkness, that's when true healing can take place. If we suppress and ignore our darkness, it only continues to fester and grow. And not being afraid of the shadow. In the spiritual community, so much is taught about love and light worker and light warrior, but the shadow work is equally important. And sometimes the things that terrify us are the things that need the most love. So, and having this full-blown demonic possession, it really humbled me and taught me to love myself in a deeper way and to be more connected to the heart space, because fear, anger, resentment, jealousy, the denser emotions of the human experience, those left suppressed, manifest in a way that is nothing short of demonic. And how do you transmute that? Through love and remembering the heart, and not being afraid to go deep to it, because the only way out of it is through it. And healing comes in a multitude of ways, and it's always exactly what you need and never what you expect.
Now, I do have one more story to share with you, and it's about how I came face to face with Mother Ayahuasca herself. Okay, so at one of the ceremonies, I was working with very masculine energies, 3 of them, because I couldn't work with the feminine energy of ayahuasca. I worked with Grandfather Rape, which is a shamanic tobacco snuff. It's very sacred, and you snort it up your nose, and it puts you in a very meditative, grounded state. I also worked with Grandfather Fire, which is it's looking into a fire and giving it everything that you no longer want to hold on to anymore. And the third thing was mapacho, which is it's sacred tobacco, and it's kind of like a cigar. You go and you don't inhale, you just clean the space, you clean your auric field, and send out prayers with the mapacho smoke, right? So you go. Now, after a few hours of doing that, I asked the shaman if I could go back to my room because everybody else was drinking except for me, and she said, yes, you may go back to your room. Now, on my way there, my friend Brad says to me, don't walk on the grass because it's dark, and this is Costa Rica, and there are snakes. In fact, two of the deadliest snakes in the world, he says, are here in Costa Rica. Now, I'm terrified of critters and stuff like that, so normally I would walk the path to my room looking up at the stars because they're so beautiful, but because he gave me that warning while he was drinking the medicine, so ayahuasca was in him when he was telling me this, I decided the whole way back to my room to just stare at the ground. Now, I've been to Rythmia several times. I have friends who have been there on and off for years and years, and they all told me they have never, not once, seen a snake. Well, I'm walking and there's a snake exactly on my path, right in the middle. And I would have stepped on it had he not given me that warning that there are snakes. And it was just looping on itself like that, just like going, right? And it was right in the middle of my path. And I got terrified and I ran back to the front desk and they drove me to my room so that I didn't have to walk anymore. And when I got to my room, I looked up the meaning of a snake on your path, and it's two things: healing and rebirth. Transformation, because it sheds its skin and it can heal, so it's very healing, and it means rebirth in your life. Now, I literally went into that ceremony with two intentions. One was healing of a physical condition that I have, and the second was of helping me with my YouTube channel, because I for the first time started vlogging, which I've never done before. And so the answer that I got was transformation and rebirth, which is exactly what I was looking for. So I told one of the shamans, and she said, what more could you ask for? She goes, Mother Ayahuasca revealed herself to you in the flesh. So that was pretty amazing. Hey, listen, guys, that's this video. I hope it helped, and I hope you'll subscribe and click that little bell notification so that you get notified every time I have a new video. Please show your love by liking this video, and check out the description below for a link to my Instagram where you can connect with me directly, and a link to my website where you can get a free copy of my book, The Enlightened Barista. Oh, and don't forget to click the subscribe button for more videos.